Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Danny McCauley and welcome back to Record Reviews, the YouTube channel where we review the old, the new and everything in between. Today we are looking at the latest album from punk rock trio Blink-182, California. Blink are back, ladies and gentlemen, since their last release in 2011 to bring us their new full-length LP, California. Regardless of if you have or have not been keeping up to date with the band, you will notice the lack of a familiar sound and the entrance of a new one. One of the founding members, Tom DeLonge, is not present on this album. The guitarist and co-lead vocalist has been replaced by Matt Skiba, who has been drafted in from Alkaline Trio. But is this change for better or worse? DeLonge's incredible number of side projects, as well as his hilarious obsession with UFOs and aliens, has been the reason for his parting with the band, saying he is dealing with a national security issue. But without the original member, the band has both lost and gained. The lack of DeLonge causes the album to lose their classic Blink sound, and although new songs, the band gives off more of a from the jam vibe rather than the jam. The whiny and lovable style that DeLonge added is now lost, but is supplemented by Skiba's ability to actually sing. Skiba's vocals on this album do meld better with Mark Hoppus's, causing you to forget who is actually singing on some tracks, rather than the contrast heard on earlier albums. This is both good and bad, as it gives the band a new sound, but loses the old style where Hoppus would sing one verse and DeLonge the next. But enough about the band, and onto the album itself. It does definitely deliver. There are definitely some catchy songs on this record with the likes of She's Out of Her Mind and Kings of the Weekend, I Can't Deny, My Head Bobbin' and My Foot Tappin'. However, these songs do not compare to the greats such as First Date and I Miss You from the Take Off Your Pants and Jacket and self-titled record respectively, which have you singing in the car as loud as you can. Blink-182 have always been incredibly successful as teenagers, and their songs definitely relate to teenage love affairs and situations. Although all in their 40s, the band still hits home to these teenage themes, which allows them to hit home to this specific audience. At this age and stage in their career, the band has definitely matured in their songwriting. Although the band is famous for never growing up, from the first few tracks on this album, it appears as if they have. However, this notion is completely dismissed once Built This Pool is reached on California. Being only 16 seconds in length, this song acts as a bit of a throwback to some of the joke songs they made earlier in their career, such as Happy Holidays, You Bastard. With the only lyrics being, I want to see some naked dudes, that's why I built this pool, it appears as if this band still knows where they came from in a musical sense, as well as a geographical sense, hence the title of the record. It's not all a good throwback though. Once through this record, and the one word which does scream out is overproduced. Listening to this record and then back to the likes of Cheshire Cat, and the difference is obvious. The quality of the music is forced through horrendous altering of the instruments, almost as if the music itself is not enough to bring the album over the line. Other than the drums, every guitar riff, bass riff and the vocals are made to be perfect, something which Blink made themselves known for not being. It is sad to see that this band feels as if the only way for this record to be successful is to sound like all their greatest hits in one, but sadly, music could not be forced this way. Track 8 in particular, Home is Such a Lonely Place, is my least favourite track on the album, as it tries too hard to play with the light, warm, cuddly feeling evoked by what is essentially a sappy love letter from a 16-year-old to his class crush. It ultimately produces a cringeworthy song which I feel like I want to skip as soon as it plays. This track does not sound like a true Blink song, and it makes you wonder what it's doing on this album. So different to every other song on this record, I feel like Home is Such a Lonely Place is trying too hard to replicate I'm Lost Without You from Blink's eponymous record. The difference between the two is that I'm Lost Without You still keeps a rock and somewhat punk aspect to it, while Home is Such a Lonely Place sounds like it should be on an acoustic album and not California. The second track on this album, Bored to Death, was the first single released from the album, and it instantly suggests a feeling of deja vu, and that is because it does. The intro guitar riff bears so many similarities to Adam's song from the Enema of the State record. It is almost as if we were listening to a more upbeat take on the smash hit. They both have the same da 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 da. This can be interpreted in two ways. One, that the band is trying to replicate a specific sound to create a new hit single on a bit of a throwback song. Or two, that new guitarist Matt Skiba was told that he needed to write a hit for Blink, and with no knowledge of how to write for the band, decided to rip off Tom DeLonge's memorable riff. Personally, I think it's a bit of both. What better way to replicate the sound of a past hit single than to copy it to create a new hit single? Along with this point about the similarities between Adam's song and Bored to Death, it needs to be mentioned that Bored to Death is not the only track on the album that bears a similarity. In fact, my two favourite songs on this record almost contain the exact same guitar riff as the intro. My two favorite tracks from California, No Future, track number 7, and San Diego, track number 13, both sadly contain the same type of intro guitar riff, the same da 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 da. Another point needs to be made about this album and its overall sound. Now, don't get me wrong, Matt Skiba is definitely a great replacement for Tom DeLonge. He is a great musician and has obviously tried his best to write Blink-182 songs. But, as seen with many bands in the past, without a lead singer present on subsequent albums, the band sadly does not sound like the original band. What I'm getting at is that without Tom DeLonge, it feels wrong to say that this is an album from Blink-182. It sounds more like a new album from Mark Hoppus's and Travis Barker's old band, Plus 44, which ironically was formed when Blink-182 broke up in 2005 due to Tom DeLonge leaving the band. My final thoughts. This is not a record you can make an opinion of on first listen. This does not sound like a band that's in their 40s, which is sadly aided by the overproduction of the songs. With vocals and guitars that sound almost too perfect to be true, it's hard to believe that this is the iconic punk rock band Blink-182. But the record does appeal to that teenage audience, as all of their albums have done. And due to DeLonge's parting, Blink fans will feel as if it's a Blink record without the Blink. Final rating, I'm going to say it's a 5 out of 10. It's not bad, but it's not great. My favorite songs from this record, as mentioned before, are No Future, track number 7, and San Diego, track number 13. With my least favorite also being mentioned before, Home is Such a Lonely Place, track number 8. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope that if you have not already, you may check this album out. I would love to hear your thoughts on this album. Also next week, I will be reviewing the new Bon Iver record, 20 to a Million, so make sure you tune in to hear my thoughts on that. Thanks.